Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're taking a look at Nendoroid Tanjiro Kamado from the anime Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer being the most popular anime and manga for the past year and a half, so it was definitely in Good Smile's interest to pump out some Nendoroids from this series. And boy are they. Having just finished the anime, and I have to say that the reason this series is so popular is 100% justified. I mean, it is rare that a show hits all the right notes for me, but Demon Slayer comes packaged with a lot of action, drama, comedy, great music, and unique sound effects, and on top of all of that, the show is animated by Ufotable, the same studio that has worked on all the Fate series since 2014. So yeah, it's pretty to look at too. Taking a look at the box, and it's pretty simple and straight to the point. The sides of the box have this nice pattern design, but other than that, not much else to talk about. So, getting Tanjiro out of the box, and wow, I'm absolutely loving all the accessories that he comes with. This feels right to me, and I'm glad so much care was put into the character. So, let's take a closer look at this. Taking a look at his big old head, and the first thing I notice is his hair. Coming from someone who has airbrushed model kits before, this is some really delicate, done-by-hand airbrush work. In the show, Tanjiro's red hair would be impossible to replicate in real life, because the highlights don't make sense. Yet, whoever hand-painted this figure somehow pulled that off, and it looks really striking. Moving down to his face, and before I move on to his expressions, I want to point out his earrings, which are super tiny, but have a perfect print on them. The instructions let me know to be careful of these, as they are separate pieces and are delicately crafted and fragile, so they could break if I'm not careful. So be aware. But they look great too, and speak to how amazing I find this character design. Starting with his expressions, and yeah, again, this is excellent. Starting with the face he comes packaged with, and you can see how unique and vigilant his eyes are. So I wouldn't say this face is a serious one, but more of an alert expression. Being alert would make a lot of sense in this universe, too, considering that his job is to travel to different towns and kill demons. Yeah, walking around the woods at night, I would probably have this look on my face, too. Moving on to his second expression, and again, this is wonderful to me. It looks as if it was taken straight from the show. His gritted teeth help with the illusion of his breathing style as well, but I'll get more into that later. This looks great, and it looks like Tanjiro is running at you with a blade in his hand. And last, but certainly not least, he comes with his smiling expression. And I am super glad that this was included. And I think it's his most important look, too. This show isn't one note, and these characters have depth. It's part of what makes this so popular. One of Tanjiro's greatest traits is that he's gentle, and his sympathy is beyond that of any other. Our protagonist here has a tough time fighting anyone, even though he is very skilled. He often listens to his enemy's story and takes the time to understand that they are both in unfortunate circumstances. Having this smiling face was, in my opinion, 100% necessary for a character like this. Moving on to the rest of him, and this figure keeps on giving because this design is phenomenal. These colors are bold and expressive and pop from anywhere in the room. This mint green kimono with its checkered pattern is unlike any design I've ever seen before, and it's beautiful. I could put this figure anywhere in the room and you could see it from a mile away. Unlike some of the figures I have reviewed, this has to be the most eye-catching and will absolutely stand out from any shelf or desk. Getting a closer look, and you can see how expertly painted or printed this pattern is. I'm not even sure how this pattern was applied, which makes it even more impressive to me. The rest of his body is standard of the Demon Slayer Corp, but still looks cool to me. The white belt and straps around his legs, over his dark brown underlay, really helps this uniform pop as well. Even the design of his sandals, or getas, is really well done. That had to be hand-painted too, which is crazy to me. The design is killer and his faces are great, so what's next? Tanjiro comes with his black katana, gifted to him after finishing the entrance exams. There are some impressive paint applications here along the handle. The tsuba, or the guard part, is a dark brown, while the blade is a metallic black. Super tiny details, but I thought I would let you know. He comes with one full katana, and then one handle part. This handle part goes into the empty scabbard part on the figure, so you can make it look like he has a sword sheathed. Also, yeah, I did minimal amount of research to use all of these sword terms. In this universe, The only thing that can kill a demon for good are these Demon Slayer swords, and the swords change color based on who wields them. Tanjiro's sword turns black, which is a really rare occurrence, and it's said that these swords are wielded by swordsmen who won't go far. Which, adds a little more drama to the hero's journey. These swords also allow them to use their sacred breathing styles. This is a bit hard to articulate with words, so I'll just show you.
2 already. Can I handle them?
I'll be the first to kill him!
You've got this. Calm down and watch closely. Don't forget your training. Total concentration. Water breathing. Fourth form. Striking tide. I did it. Nothing's left behind when a demon's killed with this sword. Not even the bones. Rest in peace.
And finally, Tanjiro comes with 2 water effect parts. At the tips of these water pieces are little holes where you can fit the tip of the katana on, so it recreates his water breathing style. I think these look nice, but not as nice as how they look in the show. I think they could have designed this a little better, but they still look fantastic once you get the right pose. The only thing that may be missing from this figure is, his breathing fire effects. I understand that Good Smile designed this figure as the show was premiering, and at that time, Tanjiro couldn't use fire breathing, so it was most likely because of that. Maybe an add-on set later will give us fire. Getting back to the water effects, and I'll admit that this is a little finicky at times, which can get a little difficult to pose. Speaking of posing, this Nendoroid doesn't have any joints or built-in articulation. That's because this Nendoroid is more typical to how they used to make them. Instead of having joints, he comes with an assortment of interchangeable arms and bent leg parts. This can be nice and easy because then you don't have to worry about getting the pose exactly right. But in this case, if you haven't dealt with this before, it can be really confusing and tricky. It took me a bit of time, but I eventually got used to it. I think many people prefer this no-joint look because once it's all posed and on a shelf, it sort of looks like a little statue. I guess it looks more like a collectible and less like a toy when you can't see the articulation. Okay, the last thing I have to mention is the water wheel effect, and this was difficult for me to set up. I'll show you how it's done now, and I followed the instructions which were somewhat helpful. So the hole in the water effect part goes into this peg here, and you can take the other water part and use friction to hold them together like this. Then you take the 2 bottoms of this and use friction again to push them into this support stand. But once you have the water wheel up and going like this, it's kind of hard to get Tanjiro to sit in place in the middle of it, especially since the stand they give you to hold him doesn't really hold him as tightly as I would like. But eventually, after a few migraines, you get this ambitious water wheel attack pose. I think it looks nice and all, but I probably won't ever pose him like this again. It was a nice addition and show accurate too, but not worth the emotional damage that it caused me. So, all in all, you already know I think this one is excellent. Tanjiro is exactly how I like him. He is beautiful to look at, comes with a good number of accessories, and I love all the expressions that he comes with. The most important thing to me about this figure is that so much care was put into bringing his character into figure form. I think this is why I would rather collect Nendoroids over statues or other things, because the statue only holds one aspect of his character, while this figure here has a wide array of options. And I like knowing I have those options. Also, depending on the statue or figure, they can be super expensive. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this review, maybe consider liking or even subscribing. I hope you enjoyed, and I appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch a video of mine. It truly means a lot. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.